Hey everyone! Today we have something completely different, a controversy you've never seen before. With the help of AI, we've created a realistic conversation between two women with completely opposite perspectives. One wearing hijab, one without. No audience judgments here, just honest words, heated debates, and controversial topics about women's freedom, religion, culture, and social judgment. Watch how these two viewpoints clash, explain their reasoning, and maybe even make you rethink some of your own beliefs. So stay with us until the end. This is one video you definitely don't want to miss.
I believe hijab is not just a personal choice because it affects society as a whole. When women wear hijab, it promotes respect and helps control inappropriate behavior. If we call it purely a personal matter, we ignore the moral and cultural structure of our society. Every community has dress codes to maintain values and identity, so regulating hijab isn't oppression. It's a way of protecting cultural and moral integrity.
In my opinion, hijab should be a personal choice. No one has the right to decide what others wear. Respect and morality come from mindset and actions, not from clothing. Many unveiled women are still decent and respectful. If hijab becomes mandatory, it loses its spiritual meaning because it's done out of fear, not faith. Freedom of dress means respecting individual intelligence and autonomy, not disrespecting tradition.
You talk about freedom, but freedom without boundaries leads to chaos. If everyone dresses however they want, there will be no structure left. Hijab is not just fabric, it's a symbol of faith, purity, and respect for values that people have fought for over centuries. When someone says hijab is just a choice, it feels like they're dismissing everything our culture stands for.
But listen, true values come from the heart, not from fear of punishment. If hijab is worn by force, it's no longer a sign of faith, it's a sign of control. I respect others' beliefs, but I expect the same respect for my freedom. A society that doesn't allow personal choice can't claim to be moral. Morality doesn't come from rules. It grows from awareness and mutual respect.
I agree that force doesn't always work, but when a society is built on religious values, you can't just ignore them. We live in a country where most people are Muslim, so it's natural that laws reflect that faith. I worry that if hijab becomes completely optional, people might start valuing women for their looks instead of their character. Media already pushes shallow beauty standards and objectifies women. Hijab helps shift focus from the body to the mind. If we stop believing hijab has meaning, future generations will lose respect for many other values too. To me, it's not about a piece of cloth. It's about identity and respect for our roots. We can't separate freedom from values. Freedom without values is just chaos.
I agree that values matter, but the problem is, values should be chosen, not imposed. Just because a society is religious doesn't mean everyone must think or dress the same way. Can true faith exist without freedom? Forced belief is just fear, not conviction. If we want to prevent objectification, we need education, not restriction. I don't want to erase values, I just want the right to choose. Media should teach that respecting women means respecting their humanity, not their clothing. You say freedom without values is meaningless. I say values without freedom are empty slogans. A truly advanced society is one where people can be different and still coexist with respect.
What bothers me most is how people confuse freedom with lack of boundaries. For example, in schools, if children grow up without structure, rules lose meaning later. You can't let everyone dress however they want in an educational space. It's about discipline, not individuality. Hijab in school, like a uniform, represents order and respect. As for social judgment, it's true that people with modest appearances are treated with more respect. It's a harsh truth, but appearances shape first impressions. Social media made it worse. People chase attention through their looks. If modesty disappears, moral limits fade away too.
I am against chaos too, but there's a big difference between order and control. Order means respecting a space, while control means taking away choice. Schools can have simple rules without making students feel suffocated. Uniforms are fine, but religious clothing shouldn't be forced. As for social judgment, we shouldn't adapt to biased views. We should challenge them. A woman with no hijab can still be the most respectful, kind, and decent person. The problem lies in people's minds, not in women's hair or clothes. Social media is a double-edged sword. It can make people shallow or open their eyes. It depends on how we use it.
The main problem is that we've misunderstood freedom. Freedom means having choices within values, not outside them. When someone says, "my body, my choice," it sounds nice, but society isn't made of one person. We all live together, so everyone's actions affect others. This obsession with body image empties women from within. Women are being used as tools for marketing, attention, and validation. I think the government has to set some moral limits to keep society from losing its way. If we remove religion and law from social life, society becomes lost and confused, like some Western countries that no longer know what's right or wrong.
I don't believe a non-religious society is automatically immoral. In fact, in many of those Western countries, people live without a specific faith, but still value respect, honesty, and humanity. When the state sees itself as the moral authority, freedom becomes an illusion. If a woman isn't free, even her hijab loses meaning because it's done out of fear, not faith. About body obsession. Yes, it's a problem, but control isn't the answer. Education is. We must learn not to judge women by their clothes or religion. When women can truly decide for themselves, that's when society grows. Religion should inspire people, not be used to control them.
Many people think hijab is only about women, but it's not. If men learned to control their gaze, many of today's problems would decrease. Still, women play a key role in preserving values. A mother shapes the next generation. I understand that the new generation thinks differently, but difference doesn't always mean progress. People assume that being traditional means being backward, but traditions are part of our identity. I don't think hijab will disappear, but it will evolve, just like everything else through history. Its essence, purity, dignity, and respect should never fade. A woman can be modern, intelligent, and still wear hijab. There's no contradiction in that.
I agree that men's behavior is a big part of this issue. But unfortunately, society always told women to cover up, instead of teaching men to look differently. It placed the entire moral responsibility on women's shoulders. As for the younger generation, their difference isn't just in clothing, it's in awareness. Young people today ask questions. They want to understand, not just imitate. I think the future of hijab will move toward real choice, everyone deciding based on their own beliefs, not through fear, not through pressure, but through understanding. And maybe one day, hijab won't be just physical fabric. It'll represent inner respect and humanity.
I agree that some women with hijab face discrimination, especially in modern workplaces. But I don't think the problem is hijab itself. It's people's mindset. Many can't separate appearance from ability. I've seen religious women underestimated at work simply because they looked traditional. Instead of removing hijab, we should raise awareness and maturity in society. As for beauty, appearance has sadly become the main standard of value. Both veiled and unveiled women face judgment, just in different ways. Until society learns to judge people by their character, not their looks, true freedom will never exist.
I agree. Judgment happens on both sides, but unveiled women also face discrimination. Sometimes people judge you the second they see you, before you even speak. In job interviews, I've felt a clear difference when I wore a scarf versus when I didn't. Personal freedom means choosing your appearance without paying the price of judgment. When it comes to beauty, women face constant pressure to look appropriate, whether covered or not. We live in a world where women must keep explaining themselves to be accepted. Men rarely face that kind of psychological burden. I believe the limit of personal freedom is simple. As long as your choice doesn't harm anyone, it shouldn't be restricted.
My problem with unlimited freedom is that it eventually leads to disrespect for values. Real freedom should come with responsibility. When someone walks around without hijab, it can feel like my values are being disrespected.
But your feelings shouldn't limit my choices. Just like I don't tell you to take off your hijab, no one should tell me to wear it. Freedom means everyone decides for themselves, without being judged.
That's true, but a society isn't just made of individuals. It's built on culture, too. When a culture has valued hijab for centuries, you can't just erase it overnight.
But culture has to evolve with time. If the new generation feels those values don't fit their reality anymore, they should have the right to choose. Many religious countries still let people choose how to dress.
But is freedom only about appearance? Why does it always come down to clothes and hair? Why don't we talk about freedom of thought or morality?
Because appearance is what gets judged first. When I'm judged for my looks, it means real freedom doesn't exist yet. A society that's scared of a single strand of hair can't claim to have mental freedom.
But some people abuse that freedom. In the name of being modern, they weaken family values, respect, and social ethics.
Actually, it's all those restrictions that have made people hypocritical. Many act pious in public, but do the exact opposite in private.
Then maybe the real problem is education, not laws or appearances.
I agree. If we learn from childhood what respecting differences really means, we wouldn't have this much hypocrisy.
Let me ask a deeper question. If religion came from God to lead humans to true freedom, then why do some people say religion has restricted women?
Because many times what is practiced in the name of religion is actually people's interpretation, not the religion itself. Religion might have a good intention, but when it gets into the hands of power and politics, it becomes a tool of control, especially over women.
But in many religious texts, respect, dignity, and a central role for women are mentioned. So religion doesn't see women as inferior, it just assigns them a different role.
But this different role has often made women appear more limited. Why shouldn't she choose her own role? If God gave freedom, why do humans take it away?
I understand that many people say religion limits women, but that's not a correct interpretation. Religion itself aims for true human freedom, a freedom that isn't limited to appearances but extends to mind and morality. For me, hijab is a symbol that a woman can maintain her identity and dignity through her own choice, without being forced to conform to societal standards. Religious texts repeatedly emphasize that women should be respected, independent, and have the right to make decisions. The problem arises when people misinterpret religion and use it to restrict others, not because religion itself wants that. A woman acting within the framework of religion and by her own choice experiences true freedom. Religion teaches us to take responsibility for our decisions and respect others. If we only focus on appearance and limit freedom to clothing or hair, we lose the essence of religion's message. So, in my opinion, religion and women's freedom are not contradictory. When properly understood, they complement each other.
I understand your point and agree with parts of it, but society shows a different reality. The truth is that religion is often interpreted by humans, and prescriptive laws and social rules are built from it, not real freedom. A woman may want to wear a hijab by her own choice, but when society pressures her, that choice is no longer genuine. Freedom means being able to decide without being constrained by others' views or rules. In the modern world, many women are judged or limited even while wearing hijab, so real freedom isn't just written on paper, it must be experienced. Religion can be inspiring, but when it enters politics and power, it easily becomes a tool to control women. I believe women should have as much choice as men, neither less nor more. So religion and freedom can coexist, but only if society respects every woman and guarantees real choice.
I think one of the biggest problems today is endless social judgment of women. Whether veiled or unveiled, women are constantly being measured by society. In such conditions, real freedom isn't possible because every action is scrutinized. For example, even a veiled woman entering a workplace is judged by appearance before ability. This pressure forces women to constantly adjust themselves to avoid negative judgment. In the modern world, social media amplifies this pressure. Every photo or video is instantly judged. I believe that for true freedom, society must learn not to judge and evaluate women based on behavior and skills, not appearance or beliefs. Without societal respect, women's freedom is just an empty slogan.
I completely agree. Social judgment of women has always existed, but we rarely consider how much pressure men face too. The problem is that society creates a double standard for women and men. Women must be both beautiful and moral, while men only need to be capable. These standards make it so that any woman, even with ordinary appearance or behavior, is judged. On social media, everything is judged based on image and looks, not skills or personality. True freedom means living without having every action scrutinized. As long as society maintains these double standards, social judgment will always hinder women's freedom. Women should have the right to be themselves without fear of labels or negative attention.
After all this discussion, it's clear to me that true freedom and social respect aren't possible without mutual understanding. Men and women must understand each other's choices and beliefs and set aside superficial judgments. Religion and culture can help women preserve their identity and values, but when misinterpreted, they limit women's freedom. Society also needs to stop judging based on appearance and focus more on behavior, character, and ability. A woman can be veiled, modern, successful, and independent. These aren't contradictory. Freedom without responsibility is meaningless. Responsibility means respecting yourself and others. So my message is respect, understanding, and genuine choice are the foundation of women's freedom in the modern world. When society embraces these principles, true freedom and peaceful coexistence are achieved.
I also believe that, after all this discussion, one thing is clear. Women's freedom without societal respect and real choice is just an empty slogan. Women must have the right to be themselves, in appearance, beliefs, and choices, without fear of judgment. Religion and culture can be inspiring, but when used as tools of control, they restrict freedom. Social judgment of women must be eliminated and double standards removed. Freedom means responsibility, mutual respect, and the ability to make decisions without external pressure. A woman can choose to be veiled or unveiled, be successful, independent, and still maintain her values. We need to build a society that respects differences and gives every woman her genuine rights. My message to everyone: women's freedom becomes real when respect and mutual understanding exists.
So that was today's debate. Two different perspectives, two different minds, and plenty of food for thought. We hope this video opened your mind and encouraged you to think more about freedom and mutual respect. If you enjoyed this debate, be sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss our next controversial videos. Until next time, remember, respect and understanding are always the real keys to freedom.